Hello guys, this is Manoj here. As you know, Microsoft Build 2022 was organized from 24th to 26th of May. It was full of interesting announcements and mind-blowing sessions. If you missed to attend it because of any reasons, you can still go to the Microsoft Build website and you can watch the recorded on-demand sessions there. I attended this conference virtually and then I have created some summary for myself. I have posted this summary on my blog. And then I thought it might also be a nice idea to share this summary in the form of this podcast. I am sure you will find this information interesting and helpful. So let's begin. As you all might be aware, Windows Subsystem for Linux, also known as WSL, has been there since very long. I wrote few posts about WSL on my blog. Initially, I wrote about how to install WSL. Later, I also wrote about how WSL2 is different from WSL1 and how it enables running native Linux applications from Windows. WSL provides a perfect solution for developers who want to use Linux capabilities and Linux-based development tools. And if you have been following WSL, you might already be aware that WSL has now more features. It can run Linux-based graphical user interface applications from Windows. So you can just install gedit and you can open the user interface of gedit and type something in it. You can install VLC player on some Linux distribution which is installed in WSL, and then you can use the VLC player to play some videos. How cool is that? We all would agree that WSL certainly saved some pain for developers. Similar to WSL, there is one more interesting thing. Windows Subsystem for Android. Windows can run Android apps. It is available for public preview. As long as the application is submitted to Amazon App Store, it can be executed on Windows. And yes, Amazon App Store is available on Windows. If you are a native Android application developer, you do not need emulators. As per the announcement, it is currently available only in US region, and this feature should certainly be available in other regions as well gradually. Let's move to the next topic. Microsoft also announced general availability of Azure Container Apps. Azure Container Apps is built on top of Kubernetes. This is a serverless offering. If you opt for this service, you do not need to have any prior knowledge of Kubernetes. One thing to remember, this service, Azure Container Apps, abstracts Kubernetes APIs. It means if you use this service, you will not be able to use Kubernetes APIs and control plane. If you want access to those APIs and control plane, you may better choose Azure Kubernetes service. In the description, I will provide some links to the documentation which explain how to get started with Azure Container Apps. Okay, let's move on. Next topic is the .NET Multi-Platform Application User Interface, also known as .NET MAUI. How do I pronounce it? MAUI? Let's say .NET MAUI. Microsoft announced general availability of .NET Multi-Platform Application User Interface. The goal of .NET MAUI is to enable development of cross-platform applications in a single code base. The idea is you write code in single code base and you can add platform-specific code or resources to the project as and when you need. These apps can be created using C# and XAML. And these apps can run on Windows, Android, iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. If you want to know more about .NET MAUI, then you can go to Microsoft Learn, search for this course, and then you can go through this course to get more understanding around this. Let's move to the next topic. We all know that resources onboarding is very tedious task. When a new person joins a project team, the very first thing that person needs to do is to open a wiki page for setting up the development environment. It is really time-consuming activity. And in order to solve this issue, Microsoft has announced a new Azure service, Microsoft DevBox. This service provides Windows development machine which will have pre-installed utilities that are required by your developers. Those utilities can be external utilities which are available in the market, or those can be internal utilities from your organization. So when the new developer joins the project team, he or she will receive an email, and from that email they can go to the DevBox, they can just start the DevBox and boom, that's it. They don't need to do any additional installations. And the interesting thing is, all these DevBoxes can be controlled like any other devices in your organization. Now this service may appear somewhat similar to GitHub Codespaces. If you don't know what is GitHub Codespaces, let's see what it is. We can go to github.com. Currently I am logged into my GitHub account. Now let's open any repository. I am on the repository now. When I press the dot key, GitHub starts spawning a Linux-based development environment for me. This particular feature is called as GitHub Codespaces. This feature also saves developers from the hassle of setting up the development machine, and your development environment will be ready in just matter of seconds. And that's why now obvious question may be how this GitHub Codespaces is different from Microsoft DevBox. Now this screenshot is taken from one of the sessions in Microsoft build, and as per this screenshot, GitHub Codespaces can spawn only Linux-based development environments, while Microsoft DevBoxes are actually Windows-based workloads. Also, Codespaces is only for Git repositories which are hosted in GitHub, while Microsoft DevBox can be used with any Git repository. It doesn't matter whether it is on GitHub, or whether it is in Azure DevOps, or whether it is hosted with some other source control provider. Also, GitHub Codespaces is more suitable for cloud-native apps, while Microsoft DevBox can be used for desktop applications, IoT applications, mobile apps, games, etc. I would suggest you to go through this particular session which talks about Microsoft DevBox, and there they have beautifully explained about how GitHub Codespaces is different from Microsoft DevBox and how they are complementary services. Let's move on to the next announcement. By now, I think most of us know what GitHub Copilot is. It is an artificial intelligence-based digital assistant for developers. GitHub Copilot was launched in June 2021, and currently it is in technical preview. It was announced in build that this tool would be generally available in the summer of 2022. It is certainly going to reduce the time and energy that a developer needs to spend today while looking for some basic code examples to understand the usage of any new APIs. As mentioned in this build, this tool is going to be free for students, and it will also be free for verified open source contributors. Another mind-blowing announcement from Build 2022 was Express Design in Power Apps. This was one of the low-code, no-code solutions presented by Microsoft. We can either upload a PDF document or snapshot of legacy application or a PowerPoint slide or a hand-drawn sketch of the application, and we can feed it to this feature. The advanced AI will scan this data and it will automatically generate a working user interface and backend data schema as well in Microsoft Dataverse. Of course, the data schema and user interface may need some additional fine-tuning. For example, let's say you may want to show a date picker instead of a drop-down, or vice versa. Consider this AI-generated user interface and data schema as the starting point and build on top of it. According to the documentation, we can begin with one or more screens, and we can go on adding more screens as and when needed. Scan again, add the pages to the same project, do some minor tweaks, and that's it. It would certainly be interesting to keep an eye on Express Design in Power Apps, because today it is generating HTML and JavaScript and CSS code for Power Apps. Maybe tomorrow there can be apps which will generate, let's say, Angular application or Angular based user interface for your web applications. These kinds of AI based features would enable businesses to speed up the development processes and thereby save some money and release the product sooner to the market. But it would be interesting to see how these AI-based products will affect the roles and responsibilities of developers in near future. Okay, let's move on to the final part of this podcast. You can earn a free Microsoft certification exam. Yes, you have heard it right. With all the major companies adopting to Azure and all the applications are moving to cloud first and mobile first direction, it becomes immensely important for you as a developer to get familiar with latest trends, technologies and concepts. Like last year, this year also Microsoft Build has announced Cloud Skills Challenge. I will provide the link in the description for your ready reference. The challenge is going to be there till I think mid of June. So okay guys, this was the short summary created by me, and I hope you find this information helpful. And if you found this information helpful, then let the YouTube know that you are liking this content by hitting the subscribe button. Press the bell icon to get the latest updates from this channel. That's it for today. Talk to you soon. Namaste.